Heyo, we are live and on the air. This is OmniDog from Omnibroslive, coming to you on a nice April night, 2018, joined by my fabulous co-host, Luis.
Welcome to the Muppet Show! Oh my god, I loved the Muppet Show as a kid.
So did I. I loved it as an adult.
What Muppet Show was like? What, 70s, 80s?
I remember watching it with my parents. So yeah, 70s or very early 80s, late 70s, very early 80s, something like that.
Oh my god, I used to catch the reruns on Nickelodeon as a kid.
Oh my gosh, I totally want to watch that now.
Do they have the Blu-rays of the Muppet Show?
I don't know. Check.
I will definitely check that. But you know, if you were to want to get the Muppet Omnibus or pretty much any Muppet comics related hardcovers or trade paperbacks, where might they perchance be able to purchase that?
That's a good question, Luis. If I were you or you were me, I would go to instocktrades.com where you can get up to 50% off on your books, loyalty discounts, over $50 in over 50, God darn it, I almost made it. Over $50 in orders gets you free shipping in the United States. Fabulous packaging, fabulous customer service. That's our sponsor, instocktrades.com.
Mm-hmm. And just, what do I tell them every week? How do their books arrive?
You tell them. I got in trouble last time I said that.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Your books will arrive like a newborn baby coddled in its blanket, just waiting there for you to pick it up.
Yeah, that sounds better than what I said.
Very much so. We won't talk about
that. It never happened.
Oh, man. I love In-Stock Trades. And once again, I know we kind of promoted it, but if you haven't, check out our video with Cameron this past Monday. Lots of cool information on it, on their process, their warehouse, and everything like that. We were really proud of that interview, and we had a lot of fun. And Cameron is a super, super awesome guy.
Omnipool, yes, I totally agree with what you're saying about Cameron. Omnipool says, no DVDs, Luis, for the first 3 seasons. Then they stopped. I have them.
Damn it. Okay. Disappointing. They have to have a collection of that out somewhere, though.
Yeah, you'd think so. I wonder if it's still live or rather if it's streaming from someplace.
It has to be somewhere. That's classic stuff.
Oh, Omnipool says it's only DVDs. No Blu-rays.
Okay, so they have, yeah, he's right. They have seasons 1 through 3 on DVD. $54 for all 3 seasons. Not bad. That's not too bad.
Oh, we have a surprise Hangout victim. Oh, we did, but now it's a blank screen.
What?
We're live.
I'm not dressed.
Oh. Ladies and gentlemen, Ryleymo is on the show, and he's just getting dressed right in front of your eyes.
Cherry pie, cherry pie, cherry.
I'm in my underwear.
2 people in the chat that'll probably get that right.
Okay, well, what are we doing?
We're going to answer this excellent question. Hey, you guys, I've been wanting the episode where Riley is drunk. What episode is that? Do you remember that? What were we discussing?
It was either Watchmen or Animal Man. Because it was something that I know like the back of my hand. So I was like getting really into it while I was drunk.
I feel like it was in the fall of 2016 or something, like a long time ago, wasn't it?
It was while I was working at the airport, which would have been November to February, 2016 to 17.
You got drunk and reviewed Civil War II.
I did?
Yeah.
He did?
Oh, yeah, I think I remember that.
Yeah, he got drunk. He got blasted and reviewed Civil War II. He went on a rant for like 20 minutes.
I think it was the same. Yeah, it was like the same thing. Yeah, I got really upset about Civil War II.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Here's a good question. I don't know the answer to this one because I forget what we were talking about. What is the episode where Jess kills his computer with Nemo?
Actually, I really want to know what that episode is, so I can go back and look.
I wasn't on. Because I wasn't there.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't, and I wasn't doing the shows with you guys at that time.
I think it was Omar and Gabe.
It must have been around October through like December, because I was off that time.
Right. Yeah, that sounds right. October-ish. I can't remember what the topic was, but I would, gosh, you'd think I'd remember what the topic was, but I can't right now.
Matt Miranda says it's a Gabe and Omar episode.
Yeah.
That narrows it down a little bit.
It was definitely me and Gabe and Omar, and it was a Thursday night. But we're here to talk about and perhaps share hauls. We're going to talk about Sheriff of Babylon by Tom King. Zing! And we're also going to talk about a book that I never read and can't wait to talk about. Spider-Man Deadpool.
Hey now.
Hey now. So
You want to just get right into it, because I got to go in a little bit.
well, it's your world, dude. Go for it.
I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit. Admittingly, I'm not the biggest fan of Deadpool, and I dug the hell out of this. This was so much fun. I know Joe Kelly's got a lot of recognition with Deadpool simply because he was the writer that's coined as like changing how Deadpool is. I think it was the 90s, right, Riley? That run initially came out.
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, that because he was the original ongoing run on the character, and that kind of made him into the more or less the version of the character that we're familiar with currently.
I dug this. I really, really dug the hell out of this, and I know I'm getting a lot of crap in the chat right now. You're holding something physical. I really dug this. No. Basic general premise is Deadpool. No, I'm terrible at that. Can somebody help me sum it up? Basically,
Deadpool wants to. The core of the story is Deadpool wants to change his behavior and become a good guy.
He wants to be reformed. He wants to be a better person, and this was going on probably around the same time as the Duggan run. Mm-hmm. And in order for that, he goes up to Peter Parker, but he also has other intentions behind him wanting to meet up with Spider-Man. He's a huge fan of Spider-Man. He thinks he's really cool, but he also wants to kill Peter Parker for certain reasons, and hilarity ensues from there. And you guys can take it from there as well.
It's like he loves Spider-Man but hates Peter.
Yeah, and they kind of justify why he does in certain ways, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's really cool. The whole bit starting out with Mephisto was fucking hilarious. It was so good. I dug the hell out of that.
I think so I was the one that pushed for us to do this book when we were talking about reviews for this month. So, you know, hopefully I'm glad that you liked it. I know that you and like Gabe, I think, were like, and I was like, no, it's really good. I swear to you guys, it's really a lot of fun. Yeah. But I think that one of the things I really liked about this was, like you were talking about, Joe Kelly did good stuff with Deadpool. And Joe Kelly also did a lot of really great storylines with Spider-Man. So when he came on here, I was like, it's obvious that this is going to be a book that I'm going to want to read, and I'm going to enjoy it because Joe Kelly doing two characters that I really like and I really enjoy his work on, with Ed McGuinness, who did Deadpool artwork on Joe Kelly's run. And it really feels like Kelly's Deadpool, but more modern, because one of the complaints that a lot of people will have when they're reading his like Deadpool omnibus is they'll be like, oh man, it's so 90s, like it's so different. And this, he's basically catching up with the current style of writing in comics and stuff, and translating that into a new Deadpool story. So if you're already a fan of Joe Kelly's Deadpool and Joe Kelly's writing, I think you'll definitely like this. And if you're a fan of either of these characters, either Spider-Man or Deadpool, you'll also enjoy it. But furthermore, if you tried Joe Kelly's Deadpool and you couldn't quite get into it, you might still like this, because it's I think it goes away from the problems that a lot of people have when they're trying to read Kelly's Deadpool now. So that's a 2 cents from me about that.
Yeah, I was kind of hesitant about it because I had heard Joe Kelly, 90s guy and stuff like that. And Deadpool, he's very referential. I was like, is this going to feel not like an old man trying to sound cool and hip today and everything like that? And no, his writing is sharp. It's really, really fucking sharp. And the references he makes, oftentimes they're very modern, they're very hilarious, and they work within the context of the story.
No, Joe Kelly's great. He's evolved his style in the past couple of decades. So if you were to read I Kill Giants is his, and then there's another one called Four Eyes, which I really liked.
Oh yeah, that's a good book.
There was a sequel to Four Eyes. I just never got to read it, but he's fantastic. So I had no doubts. And his Spider-Man stuff. He did American Son, which is like during Dark Reign, and then he also did the arc called The Grim Hunt, which is like the culmination of the Gauntlet, and that story was just phenomenal. So I definitely recommend those. Like if you read this and you're like, man, Kelly can write Spider-Man, like those are the stories I would point to. I actually, whenever Dan Slott took over as Spider-Man, like before he took over, my choice for the ongoing Spider-Man writer, I wanted it to be Joe Kelly. I was like, he should be number one choice. And then they chose Dan Slott, and I was like, fuck. And then I actually wound up really liking Dan Slott's run. So all was well.
I'm honestly surprised after this that they didn't give him a Spider-Man book, especially with the new relaunches and stuff that they're doing recently. He seems like he's got the voice down. He's a perfect fit for the character.
And he's not even writing this book anymore. Like this one's being written by Robbie Thompson now, and I think it's going to end in the next several issues or so with all the new titles. I'm looking for the issue that has the cool like black and red Spider-Man costume.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But
I like the villain they introduced in this, Itsy Bitsy.
Yeah, she's funny.
She's pretty cool. She's pretty cool, and like the way she talks to Spider-Man and Deadpool, like saying "daddy" to them, and Deadpool constantly saying, "I'm so aroused right now." We're trying to figure out. It's constantly it's very sharp, like I said. I want to find out more about the relationship that Deadpool has with his wife, who that's some freaky shit that they're into.
That so I was about to kind of comment something that would work with what you just asked, but so it's very standalone. Like you don't have to know anything else about the current books of Deadpool or Spider-Man to really enjoy this. But yeah, here's an image of the black and red Spider-Man costume. Is really cool looking, I thought. But you really don't have to be too familiar with either of these characters and their current ongoing stuff to enjoy this book. But if you are currently reading it, you'll find stuff in there like his wife is in there, and there's I think references to the Mercs for Money, and there's reference to the whole thing with him trying to be good goes back to Jerry Dugan's run on Uncanny Avengers, which is where Captain America asks for Deadpool to join the Avengers, and so he's like, okay, I guess I'm a good guy now because Captain America trusts me, so that must mean I'm a good guy. So there's a lot of references to that. So like you can read it by itself, or you can have this as a companion to Jerry Dugan's at the time ongoing Deadpool stuff, which I think is a pretty good thing.
Yeah, I loved his run on Deadpool. That Dracula's Gauntlet book is the one that introduces his wife, and then his daughter gets introduced a little later. That he's trying to be a better guy for because he has a daughter. And I thought this was a great scene, a great couple of scenes. Was this, what's it called? Image inducer, where he can, this is a key part of the book. Deadpool has some gadgets that are pretty amazing.
Yeah.
This image inducer turns Spidey into this guy right here, so they can go into the Hell House Club and pick up chicks, one of whom is this gal who sparks it off with Spider-Man, and I don't care if I'm spoiling things. The other date for Deadpool is Jane Foster Thor, which is awesome that she just appears
hilarious
in the middle of this club. I just thought that was such a great touch.
The way he's
and
set up is so good.
yeah, and here you can see Spidey and the woman falling in love, and what happens when she and Lady Jane meet up is really great. And I thought it was interesting that the better of a person Deadpool got, the more his face healed, and he became, I don't know, kind of unrecognizably handsome again.
He became a regular person, yeah. And his wife, who he's with, she hates it. She is no longer sexually attracted to him because he's pretty now or something.
Right. And then it did kind of throw me for a loop. This one part in the book that when they're going up against Itsy Bitsy.
Oh yeah.
And Deadpool transports them to a pocket universe with a little pocket mirror that seems to be something. I didn't read Weird World or any of those things after whatever the event was, Battle Worlds. I didn't read any of the Battle Worlds books, but he transports them to, if you don't pay attention really quick here, to the pocket universe little mirror, you're going to be confused because all of a sudden they show up in this whacked out pocket universe so they can heal from a bomb exploding that didn't take out Itsy Bitsy but reduced the place where they were living to rubble. It was his man cave. And this is where the art, I think, really shines, with a bunch of these little Munchkinette guys in the pocket universe. I love the little designs of these dudes. I love how they're how this giant dude just shows up in this pocket universe, and they how they deal with him. I don't want to spoil it, even though I've already spoiled some of the book. How they deal with him is just hilarious. Yeah. And here you get a look at good-looking Deadpool as he becomes better and better. As he becomes better and better, Spider-Man gets more not evil, but he becomes more of a mercenary and wants to take out Itsy Bitsy by killing her, reasoning that it will save thousands of lives if they just kill Itsy Bitsy. So as Deadpool's becoming a good guy, Spider-Man is starting to go downhill and become more of a merc or a mercenary like Deadpool was. Mm-hmm. And there's the kind of interplay between them, because now that Deadpool's good, he's like, no, Spidey, I need you to stay good. There's got to be a different way to handle it. So there's the tension there between them. And I really enjoyed that part of the book too.
It's a very fun way, because it's very fun because you kind of see them start to kind of flip in terms of their personalities and how they view certain things and dealing with certain things. And I really dug that contrast. I like how they handled that a lot. I love the little Nightcrawlers, the little Bamfs.
Yeah, we're doing the surgery on him when he was dead and going to hell.
That made me laugh so hard when I was reading that.
Yeah. He goes to hell a couple times, it seems like, doesn't he?
Yeah,
a couple times.
It's like 4 or 5 times that they end up.
He dies throughout the book. And his wife, of course, gets him. Here's the little Bamfs working on his head. That's all that's left of him. Little Bamf guys, junior Bamfs, because Nightcrawler shows up in this thing too. And he goes to hell to try and figure out who put the hit on Peter Parker. He's been hired to kill Peter Parker. And he wants to find out, because a bunch of other things fall into place too. And he's trying to find out who's behind it, including the creator of Itsy Bitsy, by going to hell. I won't spoil it and say who hired him.
No. I mean, you gave away a few plot points, but for the most part, like what you gave away, there's so much going on in this book, and it turns and twists so much. It's pretty crazy actually. I really enjoyed the reveal of how that was handled and who actually hired them and pineapple and all that.
Yeah, those pineapples were funny.
So, but I again, not the biggest Deadpool fan. I would recommend this to somebody who's not the biggest Deadpool fan.
Yeah, and I would say fan of Deadpool, fan of Spider-Man. If you're a fan of those characters, and if you're a fan of Joe Kelly, or even if you're not a fan of Joe Kelly, this is a lot of fun. It has some great artwork, and if you, I kind of want to put the perspective of like, obviously we're reviewing the hardcover that came out, not just the paperbacks that came out a while ago. If you are interested in the oversized editions, this is a really nicely put together package. It's pretty standard Marvel oversized hardcover stuff. It's got the artwork underneath the dust jacket. But one thing I want to point out is, and someone mentioned this, I think last week, they asked, why does it skip around on the issues? Because this one collects issues 1 through 5, 8 through 10, 13, 14, 17, and 18. Why does it do that and not just go all the way through? And that's because there are a bunch of filler issues. Like basically, Marvel just wanted to have that creative team stay on this book of Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness. So Ed McGuinness is not the fastest artist, and they were able to keep that creative team together by basically having a few filler issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's Gabe. What's up?
What's going on, guys?
Where are you?
I'm at the store.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Did you read the Spider-Man Deadpool book?
Yeah, that book was great. Did you guys already talk about it?
Yeah, we were just talking about it, but go ahead and give your 2 cents.
No, I thought it was amazing. My Deadpool has always been the Joe Kelly, Ed McGuinness Deadpool, and seeing them do this series again really kind of brought back that nostalgia and that good feeling of somebody who takes Deadpool serious. Deadpool's not a joke to Joe Kelly. He's a cancer survivor, and I think Joe Kelly is one of the better writers to have ever done Deadpool. The art in it by Ed McGuinness is great. Everything's fun. Everything is fluid. There's little offhanded panels here and there that could be expected from any book. What is this? 15 issues? I forgot how many issues are in here.
12 issues.
12?
Yeah, and I didn't notice any missing issues at all. It all flowed perfectly well.
Oh yeah. It seemed like it was all planned out from the beginning. Everything, all the dots connected, all the lines were in place. It's great. I loved every second of it. Has a great wraparound cover. I love the comic book studios, the publisher, are doing these printed on covers on the actual covers themselves. That's one of my favorite things about these oversized hardcovers these days.
Yeah, and if you're somebody that you look at the back and you're put off by, it skips a few issues, don't be put off by that. It is totally coherent. And in fact, Deadpool makes a reference in one of the panels. It's like, wow, it feels like we were gone for a while and completely more better writers and artists than us took over the book.
Breaking news, the fucking Nemo incident was from the comic book box sets video. Thank you, Brooks Loves Books, for figuring that out. So anybody that wants to see me destroy my computer, the classic moment, that is from the comic book box sets video on Omnibroslive.
Good times.
Not only
we need to make a greatest hits playlist. So it's like just breaking his tooth 4 different times, spilling drinks on his computer, all the bad stuff that happens to Jess on the show.
To me, yeah, this sounds like Jess's worst day.
I was going to say, not only is Brooks the expert at finding all the new solicitations, but also the expert at finding all of our misbegotten moments.
Yeah, he's
all of our follies.
That guy is a bloodhound.
Yeah, he is a bloodhound.
No, but Brooks is the man. my Facebook is set up so every time that he posts something, I get a notification because I need to see if he found any more solicits and shit.
I just like now that like Bleeding Cool will post stuff and it's always a day or two after him.
Oh yeah. My favorite though, my favorite, and I said this on the thread before. My favorite thing is when Brooks is just hammering it, just like link after link after link after link of new titles, new title, new release, new solicit, new this, new that, and it's always like 2 or 3 guys who will try to like steal some of his thunder, but they will post links to like books that we already knew from like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
Every time. It's
hard to beat Brooks to the punch.
Oh yeah.
In case you guys are wondering, when he breaks that laptop, there's a timestamp now. Thanks, Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks,
Even better.
Brooks has it at 1 hour, 24, 30 seconds. Yeah, Gabe is at a doctor's office waiting room and he's drinking champagne.
That's how we do it in Vegas.
So, you guys want to wrap it up on this one and give it a rating?
What type of rating system are we using?
I don't know. I mean, I've got my personal rating that I've always used. So I'm using that.
Okay, and I have my personal rating system, so I'll use that.
Okay.
This is an easy buy for me. I really recommend this. Ed McGuinness's art is great. Joe Kelly's writing, extremely sharp, hasn't missed a beat in years. If you haven't read his I Killed Giants, it's absolutely recommended. It's fantastic. I dug the hell out of this, and I think you guys will too. Only downside for me was there really isn't too much in terms of special features in the back. Nice job.
Not too much what now? The ringing phone drowned that out.
There's way too much. Not way too much. There's almost no special features in the back of this thing. It's just variant covers. That's a ding against it. If you're going into this expecting, oh, it's a nice hardcover, there's going to be some special features like some scripts or stuff in the back. That's not the case in this. It's not happening, unfortunately. But other than that, yeah, it's a solid pickup.
Okay, well, I rate mine on the basis of how many root beers I give it, and I give this 5 out of 5 root beer floats. It is a solidly, I just think it's a 100% 5 out of 5 root beers. You should definitely get it, blind buy it, go out and enjoy it. It's a book that even Felipe could enjoy if only he would try.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Let's not go that far.
That's a stretch.
Okay, well, I thought it was absolutely a home run, as Luis is saying. I just I dug the heck out of it. Every single page made me smile, and I loved where it led. And it just reminded me more of the Deadpool that I think is really my favorite Deadpool, and that's the Dugan and Posehn Deadpool. It feels like it picked up from that, and I just really, really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna say, if I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, probably an 8.5 out of 10. It's real solid. It gets a little wordy sometimes, and I think if you're not a fan of either character, you probably won't dig it that much. But it's hard for me to say that because I am a fan of both characters. But if you are a fan of both characters, it's a definite pickup. It's a nice package, all 12 issues of the Joe Kelly run in one place. You don't have to worry about the stuff in between. If you're really tempted, there's a paperback with the issues in between, but I don't recommend them. It's a lot of fun, great artwork, and you can get it for a pretty decent price. So why the heck not?
Gabe, what's your rating system? CGC books or something?
No, if I had to rate it on a scale of bad movies to good movies, so on a scale of Boondock Saints being the worst and The Matrix being the best, I would rate this book Back to the Future.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is a great book. Everybody said everything that can really be said about this book. It's great. It's fun. The story's on top of it. The art pops and is spectacular. It's great if anybody is looking for a fun story that is not bogged down by events or other tie-ins or continuity or anything like that. So if you're just looking for something that you could just kind of pick up, sit down, read, and just kind of stay in that world, then Spider-Man Deadpool is that book for you guys for sure. So definitely, I would give this a Back to the Future score. And I don't know what's it going. Is this what's the percentage off on it at IST right now? Probably like 45.
I think so.
Either way, man, a $35 hardcover, whatever discount you could find on it, you're making money off of it because it's worth every dollar.
And good way to work in stock trades too, by the way.
That's right. I know who keeps the lights on around here.
Yes, Ryan Barrett, you did miss it, but we'll show you it anyway. What it looks like without the cover. It looks like this right here. This is it without the dust jacket. It's really beautiful. I dig what DC and Marvel are doing under their dust jackets. They're just they're so cool. I like them better than the dust jackets themselves. Okay, there was a question.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, dust jackets are really a disservice to these books because the covers are so beautiful.
Right. Exactly. There's a question here that had been asked by me before, not by me. They asked my opinion on it, and now they want Biggie Cheese wants your guys' opinion on Stan Lee's Silver Surfer Parable, which is illustrated by the fabulous Moebius. Do you guys have opinions on that book at all? Moebius? Moebius?
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is.
Mobius's art is gorgeous.
How's the story, though?
I have not read the story. I just know that Mobius's art is gorgeous.
It's typical like late 70s comic books like Stan Lee, but probably through a ghostwriter.
Good point.
It's fun. It's probably like one of the newer Silver Surfer story at the time, because before then, I think it was just the John Buscema series for a long, long time, and it wasn't anything. So it was like the newer Silver Surfer story for a while. It's fun. It's nothing spectacular or anything like that story-wise. Moebius, who's one of the greatest comic book artists and illustrators of our time, but he's very European, and the characters look a little different than you would expect them to look in a Marvel comic. So it's pretty to flip through, but nothing special in the story.
Right. Totally agree. And then we have the next book we wanted to review was part of Tom King's triumphant trilogy of 2016. This is the deluxe of Sheriff of Babylon. And I think this is when maybe Tom King really burst onto the scene and socked everybody in the nose with his awesomeness when he came out with this, Omega Men, and
Vision.
What's the other book? Vision, right. Those all came out in 2016 or thereabouts and were incredible. So who would like to talk about The Sheriff of Babylon, illustrated by the fabulous Mitch Gerards?
Easiest buy I could ever recommend somebody. It's fantastic, hands down. Like, beautiful art, fantastic story, centering around the war in Iraq. I mean, I really don't even want to give too much away, considering how much I love this book. But hands down, there's a reason why it's referred to as the big three that year for Tom King. And I actually think I enjoy this in some regards a bit more than Omega Men. And I loved Omega Men. Just kind of like summing up of my feelings. We'll get into it in a bit more.
Yeah, this one's pretty. I remember reading it in singles, and it was pretty heavy. Like every month passing, like reading the series, it was a series where I'd always just feel like, damn. Like even above his other titles. And I'm gonna say that my favorite of those three was Vision. Because I think that Vision was just this very succinct book. But Sheriff of Babylon is probably a better book in general than Vision is, putting my personal bias aside.
To me, this book was an eye-opener, because one of the great things you get in this book that I think that I hadn't read before is Tom King's actual introduction, and where he talks about how he spent his time in the CIA and over in Iraq. And I mean, the book is incredibly raw, incredibly brutal. The artwork is great, but I mean, when you read this, you find it really gives you a taste of what life was like in the Green Zone, just in the Green Zone alone, over in Iraq during the Iraq War, which is still ongoing. But it gives you an idea, a real idea of what life was like dealing with the different tribes, the Shia and the Sunni, and then the Americans come in, and then you've got all kinds of deaths, revenge deaths, and avenge my dead daughter's deaths, and all kinds of horse trading going on, arranged by this one person trying to, please everybody. And it's done incredibly efficiently and brutally. It's almost I mean, it is shocking to me. I mean, we get a sanitized version almost of what the war was like, because none of us obviously experienced it. But being in a graphic novel form, this is about as close as you're going to get to finding out what it was really like in the Green Zone during that time. And it is it's a marvelous mishmash of conflicting agendas that somehow are all sewn together, and he does a brilliant job. This is my favorite of the three books. Also, if anybody else said that, I think maybe Riley and Luis said that too. But to me, because it seems so true to life and so real, this was my favorite Tom King book. And I don't think you can compare it to his Batman, because this is so real life, and this is going to come as a shock to some people, but Batman's a made-up character.
No.
What the fuck?
Sorry, guys.
Wait.
Sorry, guys.
My life is a lie.
But this seems to be crackling with real-life energy on it, and so it was something else.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of to set the tone. Basically, it takes place in post-Saddam Hussein, Iraq. If I'm not mistaken, got him. What geography? Post-Saddam Hussein, Iraq, and the general premise is that you have this CIA agent who, his name is Christopher. He comes and he's there to train soldiers to fight for the United States. Out of nowhere, two of his soldiers end up dead. He has to find out why they are dead, and he is partnered up with this cop named Nasir. And there's also this other lady who's coming into power named Sophia, and how she works into that whole storyline. I'm not going to give it away, but it's like you say, Jess, in graphic novel form, this is probably the closest you'll to actually being there during that time period.
Yeah, well, it's so accurate that Tom King needed every one of his scripts had to be approved by the CIA.
Right,
just to make sure there wasn't any secret information exposed, or he gave away too much information, but details and locations and stuff like that. So this is exactly what everybody's saying. I mean, none of us have been there. We don't know, but from everything that we could expect from what we've seen in movies and other TV shows and other books, that this is a real life account of things that had happened, but probably were used different names and different locations and stuff like that. And the government had to get involved and had to approve all of his scripts every single time. So,
and here's what the dust jacket looks like This is what it looks like without the dust jacket.
I love that. That looks great.
Yeah.
Fuck these dust jackets.
We're all anti-dust jacket right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got to read and review 2 really good books. I was really pleased with these books. What a nice bonus that we could read and review 2 nice books. I thought that whoever insisted that we get those 2 books, Riley, was really smart.
Okay, so when we were choosing the books, for the past couple months, I've laid out a bunch of new releases, and I've listed the ones that I think would be good for us. And in this month, I said Sheriff of Babylon is going to be one of them. Like, hands down, that'll be one of the books we get. And then the other one was between a couple of other things. Mm-hmm. And so, but yeah, I was very insistent of that. But I wanted to say one thing. Number one, the books that Tom King is writing, specifically his limited series, these books are the ones that are going to be seen in the future as this is comics as literature. Mm-hmm. Like even the ones that are superhero books, even Vision and Omega Men and Miracle Man, or Mr. Miracle rather. These are the books that are going to be echoed through the annals of history. Like, they're just going to be talked about a lot. So you're right now being able to get in on the ground floor for some stuff that's going to be spoken about for a long time. And if I'm wrong, then I'm going to be very disappointed with our future if I'm not right about that.
This is gonna be one of those books that 5 years from now I could totally see Vertigo putting out a nice deluxe edition, Absolute or something like that.
And there's a sequel coming, so I'm sure they'll do something with the follow up and this together, and I'm gonna spend money on it. But the other thing I wanted to so I read it in singles. I never had the paperbacks, but Luis, you had the paperbacks, yeah?
Yes, and I have them both signed by Tom King.
So what if someone has not read it yet, mm-hmm. what would make you say that they might want to grab the hardcover over the paperbacks?
I mean, it's just overall, it's a much more beautiful little presentation. I was kind of disappointed that there really isn't too many special features in the back of this. I mean, you get your like standard covers and things like that, but outside of that, sketches. Outside of that, there's not much. Again, this is kind of what I would ding. This is really the only thing that I would ding this book on. But if you're somebody that has never read Sheriff of Babylon, this is a beautiful little package for you. I think, what's it going for right now in IST?
The book is
$40.
$40, so it's probably like 22, 23.
In that ballpark. I highly recommend that. Ooh, thank you. I highly recommend that this is the way to go, simply because I think, give me a second, I could actually pull the other books from my shelf just to compare to the size. I think this is a bigger format than the trades.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Take a look. For comparison's sake, I'll be back in 1 second. Just distract them.
Okay, good. I will. There's a question in the chat about when the planetary review is, and we do have a date for that. We haven't done it yet. We had to get it pushed back because we had our live interview with Cameron Merkler. It's not this coming Monday, it's the following Monday, right, Gabe?
Right, because we got something else going on this Monday again. So.
Right, we have something special this coming Monday. So, whoops, wait a sec. That would be the 9th. So the 16th, April 16th is when we're going to be doing the planetary review. So you haven't missed it yet. We just had a ton of stuff that popped up, and we decided we have to take the opportunity to do these interviews because we live on the edge like that.
Yeah, it's easier to reschedule a review as it is to reschedule people's interview times and their schedules.
Right.
Have you decided what the next one's going to be yet? That's falling on Omar and Luis, right?
The next
Omar and
The next big book review or the next reviews like what we just did of these books?
The big book reviews.
I don't think we've even discussed that.
Yeah, well, that's up to Luis and Omar.
Wait, what now?
The next reading assignment.
Oh,
you guys went trivia.
Ooh, manga.
Oh god, fuck.
I'm out.
Let's do. Let me think. Food Wars. Gabe, what do you think, Riley?
Oh man,
I have it right here.
I've been trying to get a chance to read the 4th volume of that series, but I can't because it has giant boobies on the cover, and I don't want my wife looking at me weird. So I've been like putting it off indefinitely.
Just put that book instead of a crossed book, and then just read it so she sees the cross covers.
Would not make her very upset.
Just for comparison's sake, these are the 2 trades that I'm actually. My brother's here, so I'm probably just gonna end up giving these to him. They're signed by Tom King. We met Tom King actually with Gabe last year at MegaCon.
Yeah, he's a super nice guy.
Super chill, dude.
So I did notice that the trades are a little bit cheaper. Like if you bought both of the trades on IST, it would be maybe $5-6 cheaper than buying the hardcover right now. So if $5 or $6 is gonna make it or break it for you, then you might want to go with the trades. But if the presentation of the oversized deluxe edition hardcover is worth $5 or $6 for you, which for me it personally is, then that I would recommend picking up that hardcover. But it's a book that I think that people need to read one way or the other.
One thing good about these hardcovers is they will hold up to a lot of rereads, because you're going to want to reread, especially this. I do want to reread at some point Spider-Man Deadpool, but this will be something I want to reread every 8 months or so, and it's nice to have it in a hardcover format.
That's very true. It's very, very true. You know, the glue on paperbacks deteriorates a lot, and I've had a lot of old, especially from Vertigo, I've had paperbacks where the cover just like detaches from the spine, and it's not very fun.
Right. That's a tragedy in our world.
Yes. A very sad tragedy. So y'all want to rate it out of whatever?
Go ahead, Luis.
Ratings. Okay. Well, I'm gonna give it the same review that I gave it when I reviewed it a year ago. It's a perfect in my book. It's phenomenal. It's gonna be one of those books that I'm gonna come back to it every year. And it's gonna be one of those books that 10, 15 years down the line, when Tom King has written a whole slew of other things, you can go, it was the big 3. Here are the big 3 that he started with that you absolutely need to pick up. If you haven't read it, I absolutely love it. It's a must buy, hands down.
And it's perfect. Like this book, it's perfect. It gets, not only does it get 5 out of 5 root beer floats, but you get an extra scoop of vanilla ice cream in each float. It's so good. This book is one of my top 10. It is in my top 10 now, which means that it will be getting an annual reread from me. 5 out of 5 root beer floats with an extra scoop of Haagen-Dazs vanilla in frost top root beer. You can't get any better than that.
Gosh. I'm gonna say like a 9.5 out of 10. There's not too much I can say against it. There's just not. It's very close to being perfect for me, but not quite there. And it's just a fantastic little story. It's one that, like I said, is gonna be. Should be, if it's not, I'll be disappointed. Talked about for years, looked back on in a decade or 2 decades, multiple decades in the future. I think it's going down as one of the greats, and Tom King is just phenomenal. Everything he touches is turning to gold, and a lot of it is just he really knows his voice, and he really knows how to tell these very succinct, contained stories. And this one, given that it's not an existing character that he has to work with, and it's something a subject matter that he knows very well, it gives us an incredible insight and makes for an incredible book with great gravity to it that I believe that anyone who's a fan of comics should pick up.
Well said. Gabe?
All right. For Sheriff of Babylon, I'm going to rate this on a scale of Halloween candy, with Tootsie Rolls being the worst and king size 4-packs of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups as the best. I would have to give Sheriff of Babylon king size 4-packs of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups that you find in your trick-or-treat sack every year. It's hard to say anything else more than what you guys have already said about this book. It's basically perfect in every way. Mitch Gerrits deserves more work than what he's getting and more praise than what he's getting. I know he's blowing up a little bit thanks to Mr. Miracle, but he should have been blowing up a long time ago because of Sheriff of Babylon. When I met him at MegaCon, he was doing head sketches, fully watercolored head sketches for $60. That's outrageous. He deserves to be doing like $200 head sketches full color. His work's amazing. It's great to see a new art style in a comic book where it's not all superhero-y and perfect-looking people. This is a story about that you can actually feel and have emotions about the characters. You get attached to the characters. You get to know the characters almost as real people. I put it up there with Scalped and 100 Bullets and anything else like that. That's kind of like a gritty crime story, for sure. So, Peanut Butter Cups, for sure, for Sheriff of Babylon.
So I wanted to say in relation to your peanut butter cups, I went to the store yesterday and bought a giant bag of Reese's eggs, like the leftover discounted Easter candies. It's like huge. The bag's like giant, almost as big as my torso. It was $10, and it's got Reese's, like the milk chocolate eggs, white chocolate eggs, and Reese's Pieces, and it's magical. I left it on my desk at work, so I can.
That thing will be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, every time you eat one, you'll be like, "Oh, this is a Sheriff of Babylon. It's so good."
This is a good question, Riley. What story would you give a 10 out of 10? What's a perfect book to you?
Animal Man gets a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
And I think Swamp Thing by Alan Moore is maybe not a 10 out of 10. It's almost there because the first 4 volumes of the collected editions were 10 out of 10, and then the last 2 are a 9 out of 10. So it's a 9.75.
And Ryan Barrett's wife likes Reese's eggs, so that means they're great because he has the perfect wife. She looks like Zatanna and is going to read comic books and is going to dress up as Zatanna for Halloween. So we all want to meet Ryan Barrett's wife.
The eggs are great, as are any Reese's holiday thing, because they have a different ratio of chocolate to peanut butter. There's actually a chart. I'm going to look up Reese's ratios here.
This is complicating Reese's Peanut Butter Cups so much.
It's so worth it. You got to know, if you care more about peanut butter than chocolate, and if you care more about chocolate than peanut butter. Okay, so the egg has almost the most peanut butter. It has 59.5% peanut butter to chocolate. And then
No wonder I like them so much.
the heart is the only one at 60.34% peanut butter. That's the only one that has more. And then just to tell you, the regular large Reese's cups, they have 38.33%, and the miniature Reese's cups have 39.23. So if you like more peanut butter, those eggs and the hearts, the pumpkins, those things are going to be up there for you.
Nice. Where else are you going to find this kind of info on a comic book show? Only on OmniBros Live can you find peanut butter and chocolate ratios. This is what's known as value-added content.
Yeah, I don't know about any other channels that talk about the importance, the dire importance, if anything, of the chocolate to peanut butter ratio in Reese's cups.
Yeah, and Sam von Kluxenberg is calling me on my because people know me better than I know me. He's saying that I said in the past that Haagen-Dazs isn't good in root beer floats. I changed my mind.
Okay.
So that's my only explanation. I changed my mind.
Hey, kind of just breaking the
Mind. You know you're not allowed to change your mind. Ever.
Yeah, once you say it on the internet, it's forever true.
I'm afraid you're right. But we have chocolate and peanut butter, Sheriff of Babylon, and just as good as chocolate and peanut butter almost is Spider-Man Deadpool. Those are our reviews. And then I think we may do a little haulage, but some people have to knock out from here on out. Is that correct?
That would be,
Yeah, I'm going to take off. I got to get back to work.
Yeah, that would be me also. I just kind of wanted to break this real quick. That apparently it was just announced that Carl Urban is going to be Billy the Butcher in the Boys series.
Nice.
Carl Urban, Dr. McCoy from the Star Trek movies?
Yeah, Dread.
Yeah, and Dread.
Was he Dread in Dread?
Yeah.
I never saw it. I know he was in Thor Ragnarok.
He's going to be Billy.
Oh, Dread, you gotta go watch Dread 3D like right now.
Dread was great.
Yeah, that's what everybody's telling me. I really do need to see it.
Yeah, but we're
This is in the show right now. We're in the show early, so Jess can watch Dread.
All right.
Like, seriously.
Have a good night, everybody.
Later.
All right, Luis, where can we find you?
Comics Guide 101, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff. I'll see you later, everybody. Have a good night.
Peace.
Bye.
Later, fool.
Gabe, where can they find you?
You can find me here on YouTube as Gabe Infinity Watch and on Instagram as well as Gabe Infinity Watch. And I'm always hanging out and chilling and having conversations on the Omnibus Collectors Facebook group as well. So I'll see everybody there. I got to get back to work and sell some comics.
Nice. What a good gig.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for joining. And then there were two.
He's already helping IST sell comics, so technically he's doing his job for another company.
That's right.
I don't think we decided on the April review books, but I know that I had mentioned that we should do Grand Design, X-Men Grand Design, and that Superman 80th anniversary hardcover thingy-majigger.
Oh, that sounds good.
You went and bought Grand Design, you fool.
I know.
So, I mean, I guess you can still review it, but
yeah, I'll review it. That's fine. Those are two good choices.
yeah, I put out a bunch of them. I don't remember everything I mentioned, but you're also getting Centipede in your newest order, right?
I am. Yeah, based on your recommendation, I'm reading that immediately as soon as it comes out of that nicely. Oh, it's not going to be nicely padded. It's going to be full of packing peanuts because of Grand Design.
Freaking huge.
Yeah. But yeah, I want to read Centipede right away because that will be your 10th recommendation to me. And so far you're 9 for 9.
I almost want to be like argue that I should count Spider-Man Deadpool because I recommended it, but
that's fine.
I also want Centipede to be the 10th one just because that's a nice number, and I'm really like hyping that one up.
It's fine with me. Whichever one you want to be number 10. It's your world, baby. I'm just a visitor.
I think you're gonna enjoy Centipede though. You've enjoyed the other Max Bemis books, and this is him again, and it's just it's surprised me so nicely when I read the first issue. I didn't expect anything of it because it's a freaking Centipede comic based on the Atari game, and it was just great. So I'm excited for us to get that. I ordered a copy as well. I'm excited to get it and be able to talk about it later on the show.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm excited to read it right away. Because it's what is it, like 4 or 5 issues?
think it's 5.
5 issues? Okay. I can knock that out in an hour.
There's also if you enjoy it and if you enjoy Atari, they also did Sword Quest as a series. I think it was written by Chad Bowers. It was pretty good, but it's a really different take on it. And I'd never played Sword Quest. Like everyone's played Centipede. I'd never played Sword Quest though.
I don't think I did either.
It was one where there was 3 games. There was supposed to be a 4th one, and they never released the 4th one. But there was like a competition going on, and you could win something if you like beat all 4 of them. But since they never released the 4th one, no one ever won. And this book was kind of based on the idea of what that prize was and yada yada yada. But it was a really cool little comic. But yeah, I'm super stoked about Centipede. And
Do you have any books that you hauled this week?
I'm trying to think about that. I do have a couple of them, I think. And by a couple, I mean like 50. I'm not kidding. But I have to return some of these. So which I never do. So when I say I have to return them, it's serious business.
Return them because they're damaged?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm gonna show you guys like what damage is to me, because usually I'm pretty lenient. I mean, you know that.
Right.
So I decided recently that I wanted to own all of the Naruto manga because I read it as it was coming out since like I was in 7th grade. And I never owned it. I just read it either online or in the monthly magazines and stuff. So I found a bunch of really cheap lots on eBay for over half of the series. And so I got all of these volumes, almost the first 48. And then that's 2 lots that I bought. And then this 3rd lot down here is fucked up, because the guy sent me like this volume is literally taped together with electric tape.
Oh my god.
That's bullshit. And then like the rest of them have chunks missing. Chewy's sniffing them. Chunks missing from the back cover. Like they look like this. All of them look like this. Like someone just tore it off. And so I emailed the dude. I was like, I'm not accepting that. Like, I'm sorry. And I never do that. But this is like, I paid money for these books, and they look like someone just destroyed them purposefully. So I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I'm not paying money for that.
Have you had to open a case?
I requested a refund, but I've never done this before, so I'm not familiar with the process. But it said that like I have to wait 2 days, and if the seller does not respond, then I can go to eBay and their customer service. So 2 days will be tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, if he still hasn't responded, I'm just going to go to them, and hopefully I get the money back. But the thing is, like, I bought all of these, and I got them cheap, like pretty freaking cheap. And then right afterwards, this girl in a page on Facebook was selling all but like 3 volumes of the series, so 1 through 69, for less than it was going to take for me to buy the rest of the books that I needed. So I was like, okay, fuck it. So I just decided to buy them all from her, because at least I know they're all going to be in good condition, and then I'm going to sell the ones that I've got, because most of them are in really good condition with just a few bad eggs in there.
I've never seen a book with electrical tape on it before. That's shocking.
Yeah, I was pretty upset. And then I got also this book, Original Sin, the event by Jason Aaron and Mike Deodato Jr. I don't know if you ever read this event. I read it back when it was coming out, and I'm a big fan of Jason Aaron. This is not one of his better works, but it is, it's not the best event at Marvel, but it is responsible for Thor losing his hammer. Like that's where that happens. Essentially, if anyone is not familiar, the idea behind the event is they're trying to figure out who shot the Watcher. Someone killed the Watcher and stole his eyes because his eyes act as basically biological memory banks that hold all of the secrets that the Watcher has seen throughout his life. And they also are bombs. And so when they detonate, anyone in the vicinity will see those secrets that his eyes have been holding. So there was, during this series, there was a bunch of different like secrets that were revealed to the Marvel Universe. And one of the big ones, kind of spoiler, but this was years ago now.
Wait, I'll take my headphones off. I haven't read it yet.
Is about Nick Fury being the man on the wall. And so we get Bucky Barnes kind of goes into that role. And if you've read the Bucky series since then you'll know about what that role is.
Thank you.
Do you have the book, Jess?
I do. Yeah, I need to read it now. I mean, it reminds me that I need to read that book. And it's got a companion too.
Yeah, I don't have the companion because I haven't found it for a price that I'm happy with. But I found this for like $18, and it's got a $75 cover price. So
what? It does?
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Look how thin it is. Like that. This is Marvel at its worst. Like just price gouging, because look at these two books are like the same size. Now this one has issues 0 through 8, Original Sins 1 through 5, Original Sin, Secret Avengers, Infinite Comic 1 and 2, and material from Point 1, number 1. So it's got more material. There's more pages in here and more issues than in Sheriff of Babylon. But I still wouldn't say it's worth $75, and that's why I waited until now. Finding it for $18, I was like, hell yeah, I'll buy that. It's got a remainder mark on it, so obviously they're pushing it out right now. Warehouses. So if you've ever been curious about it, now's probably the time to jump on that book. It's not perfect. It's a decent event. I did have fun reading it when it was coming out. I rolled my eyes a couple times when I was reading it because there's some dumb things in there too. But it's pretty fun, and if you're a fan of Jason Aaron, you're a fan of his Thor run, it's at least worth checking out.
Okay. I hauled, some guy recommended Red Hulk last week, so I got all the Red Hulk that I could.
What Red Hulk is that?
Red Hulk, Hulk of Arabia, Haunted Red Hulk. These are all out of print, but they were really cheap on a different website than IST. Fall of the Hulks, Red She-Hulk, Route 66, and this just came in today. Mayan Rule, the one that's still in print, I got from In Stock Trades, but I ordered it with Rumble trade paperbacks volume 1, 2, and 3, and they're out of stock on Rumble volume 1, so that's holding up the order. So I do not have all of Red Hulk yet, but you baited me hard on that, and I bit.
So you are waiting for Scorched Earth, Planet Red Hulk? Did you get Fear Itself Hulk?
I did, and it hasn't come in yet.
So those are those the ones you're waiting on, I guess?
Yeah, those two I'm waiting on.
Okay. Yeah, I hope you get to read that pretty soon and let me know what you think, because I stand behind that run so hard. Like, I've recommended it so many times, and honestly, like, Jeff Parker as a writer is just fantastic. That run, his Thunderbolts, is really great. If you haven't read that, have I talked about that one before? Have you read that?
I don't think so.
His Thunderbolts, basically, it's after the whole Norman Osborn era, where Osborn was the leader of the Thunderbolts, and we have the Thunderbolts now are led by Luke Cage, and basically the idea is that Luke Cage is running this program out of the Raft, the prison, where he's taking villains and kind of reforming them and using them to go on missions and stuff. And if they do these missions, then they get time off of their sentences. So it's kind of like more like Suicide Squad in a way than the older Thunderbolt stuff was. But it's really, really good. And it has a lot of really interesting characters on the team. Like they've got Juggernaut is one of the major players. Crossbones is on there. The Man-Thing is in there.
Oh, cool.
Not because he's a villain, but they wind up using him because he can teleport. So it's a really great run. It's got primarily artwork, as far as I remember, was by Kev Walker, who did he did Avengers Arena and Avengers Undercover, if you read those series. And he did he's doing Dr. Aphra. He's doing that artwork on that series, or has been. So I really like Kev Walker, but that run was really good. I need to buy it. I had the single issues and I sold them all and never bought the fucking trade paperbacks.
I have two ends of the spectrum here. I treated myself for my birthday and got a book that I will show you in a sec. But first, my daughter gave me Star Wars Jedi Academy for my birthday.
Oh,
she knows. I think it's the same, in the same vein as like, wasn't there Darth Vader and daughter or something?
yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, and so I think this is the same type of thing. She and I love Star Wars, so this is completely innocent and from my loving daughter. Then we go to Jess, the dirty old man who gets the sensuous Frazetta. I showed this last night a little bit when I had to do some tap dancing while on my own. So this is some of the fabulous Frank Frazetta art that's in this book. It's a wonderful book, the kind that lights up my board. So that is the other thing that I hauled. Then it's got a bunch of color and black and white pages from comic stories that he illustrated, which I imagine are fairly hard to come by at this point. So I'm pretty happy. It's like half the book is these. So I'm extremely happy about that. This is a nice get that I got from a guy in the group who gave them to me for a good price. And I have no idea if it's out of print or anything. I just knew that I wanted it, and he was giving it to me for a good price. So that's what I hauled.
Some pretty good haulage.
Thank you.
My next, hopefully next week, hopefully I have stuff by Monday, because I'll have a pretty decent haul by then.
I did a small haul this week, pretty small, from InStockTrades.com.
Hey, I have like books from the end of last month and the first week of this month. First week of this month was actually pretty small. There was no big, like, super expensive releases. But if my schedule is correct, we should have by the end of the month the Carnage Omnibus and Preacher Absolute Volume 3. So I have to make sure I don't, blow all of my money in the first half of the month and then get fucked by the second half.
Right. Do you want to take some questions for a couple of minutes before we go?
I probably have to go now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've got to get some stuff done in the house. Megan's out and gonna come back, and she's always like, damn, you're still doing your show? If she like comes back after working out and I'm still here. So,
okay then, buddy, where can they find you on the internet?
don't find me on the internet. No, you can find me on the Facebook group, Omnibus Collectors, Comic Swap, and Community. If you are one of the many people who's requested to be let in and has not been accepted, that's because we're letting people in, every 2 weeks? we do just a big group, I think is what we decided to do.
I'm not allowed to approve anybody, so I don't remember.
Oh yeah, that's right. I think we're letting people in big groups every 2 weeks, and it's just so we can like. The idea was just so we could say welcome to everyone at one time. So I guess we should probably actually do that next time we let a big group in. So just to let y'all know, that's why if you haven't been let in, that's why we're just kind of experimenting with that right now. And then my website, theomnibuscollector.com, and my channel at Ryleymo and other stuff like that. And you can find me here at least once a week.
Right on, man. Great to see you. I will answer questions for 5 minutes if anybody cares or is interested, or I'll watch probably the viewership drop in half when it's just me. I don't know why I do that. I shouldn't do it. It's bad for me. Because then I feel bad about myself.
Oh, before I go, next time you're in town, I have a new restaurant I need to take you to. And
Ooh.
anyone who's in Austin or been to Austin, you probably may have been here, maybe not. If you haven't, then check it out. It's called Valentina's, and it's like a Tex-Mex barbecue joint. And I've only had their breakfast because I went yesterday with my friend who came in from Guam, and he and I went over there. They're like less than 10 minutes from my house, just down the road in South Austin. And for breakfast, they sell breakfast tacos that you can get either brisket or pulled pork for the meat. And the one we got was called the Real Deal Holyfield. And it's this massive slab of brisket, like the freaking size of my hand, in a tortilla with a fried egg and like, they say refried beans, but they look more like baked beans. Because they're not all mashed up, and potatoes and some really damn good salsa, and it's pretty expensive. It's like a $7.50 taco, which is like 3 times what I'm used to paying. But oh my god, the meat melts in your mouth, man.
Wow, you've got me intrigued.
So next time you're here, I'm gonna have to pull you on over there.
Nice. I'm going to be planning that sooner rather than later now.
Just for the taco. All right, well, I'm gonna peace out. Have fun for the rest of the night, man.
All right, thanks for being on the show and your great opinions. It's always appreciated.
You got it. Later.
Okay, I will answer any questions you'd like to ask for 5 minutes, and unless the viewership drops in half, then I'll sign off right away because you're probably sick of me. I already did this last night. So, hey Jess, what is your favorite birds of prey? Birds of Prey book or bird in the Birds of Prey? Batman Beyond New 52 Rebirth any good? Not a fan of Batman Beyond. I know. That's a bad thing, so I apologize. Book. Favorite Bird of Prey book? I like the current Batgirls and Bird of Prey. I actually kind of like it. You could try that, the Rebirth book. It's not bad. Let's see. Is the Justice League Detroit Omnibus any good? You are asking the wrong guy. That is the Bronze Age type of bleeding into the modern age Justice League that I do not dig. That is probably more of a question for Riley or Gabe or Felipe, for that matter. I am not a fan of Justice League International or Justice League Detroit, so I'm a bad guy to ask that. Let's see. Thank you, Jimmy, for saying that. Is injection continuing? I don't know. That's a good question. I hope so. Looking to sell. Nick is saying looking to sell a bunch of old trade paperbacks that I'll probably not read again. Any tips? Yeah, price them to sell. If you're on eBay or on the Omnibus group or wherever, look at what everybody else is selling for and knock about 30% off, because if you want to sell them, you want them out of your house. You need to price them cheap. Like I've got some Abe Sapien trades that I'm going to sell. I've got 6 of them. I'm just going to ask $25 plus shipping for that. That will sell. I could hold out for $45 or something, but it'll never sell at that price. So I'm just going to say $25, put it on the group, get it out of the house. So I would say price them cheaply, put that money towards something else. Hey, Jess, Andrew says, hey, Jess, recently my friend was giving away books and he gave me Meta Barons and Techno Priests. My question is, can I read both without having read the Inkle? I read all 3 of those books quite a long time ago, and I'm afraid to give my opinion on them because I read them so long ago. My recollection is that while they're part of the same universe, they are separate stories. So I think you're okay going ahead and reading those. Of those 3, of course, my favorite was the Inkle, which was, I mean, they're all wild, but I think you're okay going ahead and reading those without the Inkle. I have 2 read those, Cycle Cleveland. Matthew asks, favorite underappreciated DC and Marvel character. I think my favorite underappreciated Marvel character would be Mockingbird. I don't think that book got enough love. It's a great, great book, Bobby Morse. It came out, as I recall, last year in trade paperback. That's the one with Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda on it. I love that run, and I think that's underappreciated. Underappreciated DC. I bet Superwoman, the Rebirth series, is underappreciated. You should be reading that. It got canceled after 18 issues, so I think there's 3 trades. And you need to know a little bit about how New 52 Superman ended, because that's how the Superwomen get their powers. But those are my 2 underappreciated choices. Logan says, the Superman Exile Omni was solicited on ISC to be released yesterday. Yeah, it got pushed back. I'm not sure if it got pushed back a week or 2 weeks, but it did get pushed back. It's not available to buy yet. It's not like IST is the only one that doesn't have it. DC has pushed back the release date. Whoop, why does this always jump to the end? What is a good pre-Rebirth Green Arrow Black Canary relationship story? I saw books with Cliff Chang art, but I don't know if they are good. That is a good question. A Green Arrow Black Canary relationship story. A lot of people, well, I'm going to go with what I know. Sorry, it's going to be something older. It's going to be the beginning of the Bronze Age, the Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams, Dick Giordano run of Green Lantern, Green Arrow. That features a lot of really cool Black Canary, Green Arrow stuff in it. That is where I think I first was exposed to them as a couple. Best Green Arrow book. Probably that same one. The current Green Arrow run, which is written by Benjamin Percy, is really good. I don't know if I can say it's the best, because I haven't read every single Green Arrow book. I know lots of people love Mike Grell's run, but you would be very happy with Rebirth Green Arrow. is the feminist agenda thing part of the Mockingbird book, or is it just the cover? Just the cover. Although that's what Fangirl had on her shirt when we went to AwesomeCon, and she got lots of compliments on it. Efren asks, it was great seeing Cameron from IST this week. Have you or any of the other admins considered having a group member come on the show? Maybe weekly or monthly. I do that on my own channel, OmniDog's Vault, where I interview people that don't have their own YouTube shows. I usually, if you have a YouTube show, I figure you probably have all kinds of exposure already. I like to interview people that don't have their own YouTube or podcast. I do that on OmniDog's Vault. But I imagine we're going to start trying to do interviews. We've got a good one lined up that's coming up. But that would be interesting. I think that's a good idea. T. Stewart, hey bros, I'm really not into Marvel, so can you name a few omnis or absolutes in the area of The Boys, Invincible, Saga, and things like that? You mean that are published by Marvel that are similar to that? I think that's the reason Image is so popular, because Marvel and DC don't put out books like that. I'm going to have to let the chat answer that question. I can't imagine. Those things are so, The Boys especially, is so raw. I don't see anything similar to that in Marvel. That's a good point, Cleveland Brown. Kevin Smith and Brad Meltzer's Green Arrow run was really good. Judd Winnick's art was really solid. Yes. Jess, you are awesome. Thank you, dude, or dudette, whichever you are. I appreciate it. Hey, for Deadpool, would this be a good reading order, and would you approve and recommend these runs? Cullen Bunn's run, Poston run, then Joe Kelly's run, then Joe Kelly's Deadpool Spidey. By the way, Deadpool movie is on FX right now. Cullen Bunn's run, I liked it. It's like the minibus versions, but opinions are mixed on it. So I don't take my word for that. But I liked it. But I think what you should read instead is probably, because it's a lot of material, is the Poston Dugan run and then Joe Kelly's Deadpool Spidey. You'll enjoy Deadpool Spidey better if you read Dugan and Possehn's run, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Do you know how many volumes of JL International Omnibus have to be released to get it completed? I don't, because I don't particularly care for that era of Justice League. That's known as the Bwahaha era, when Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are always off in a corner laughing at some joke they pulled. And that's just not my Justice League. So I apologize. It's not you, it's me. I'm just not into it. Ever try A&W root beer? I only like A&W root beer from the tap, like at a restaurant, A&W root beer stand type restaurant where you can go in and get it fresh, pulled. Otherwise, I'm not a fan of it in bottles and cans. Thank you for asking, though. Jess, did you think we will ever get more from the irredeemable, incorruptible universe? I felt Cubit was the most interesting character. I agree, and would love to know more Is even human, alien, or cyborg? Yeah, right. Cubit was awesome. I don't know. If I see Mark Waid in Baltimore this year, he's a lovely guy. I will ask him if there's going to be any follow-up to that universe, because it is a great universe. Not Justice League. Yeah, that's a good hashtag. Okay, well, I haven't lost too many viewers, so that's good. But now we're talking about cycling in there, and I don't know too much about cycling, although I got a fun bike for my birthday that I'm going to ride around flat surfaces with my wife, because I'm not an intense biker like Cycle Cleveland is. Jess, when is your next interview with Fangirl? Good question, Sam. I'd like to interview her about her AwesomeCon experience that we went to. So maybe this weekend. Fangirl has a lot of good opinions, and she's not afraid to give them. So this weekend would be a good weekend for me to do that. Jess, if Mark Waid or another of your favorite writers did a Justice League International series, will you read it? Yes, it will have original Blue Beetle, Booster Gold, and Guy Gardner in it. The short answer is no. I'm sorry. I don't dig. A lot of you out there, Guy Gardner is your Green Lantern, and I say thumbs up. Good for you. I think that's awesome. Not for this guy. I am not a Guy Gardner fan at all. And I know I'm immediately going to get some hate. Everybody loves Guy Gardner except this guy. I'm so sorry. Again, it's not you, it's me. I just don't dig, and I don't dig Blue Beetle or Booster Gold either. Are you going to get a Morrison Batman omnibus? Yes, I am. You better believe it. I love that run. Who's your Twitter? Sorry, I don't tweet. I'm not on Twitter because I'm on the Facebook group so much. I don't have time for Twitter. No, Cycle Cleveland. It's just a fun regular old bike. It's not anything really hopped up and really cool like what you've got. It's just a fun 10-speed to rip around town in, and it's not gonna. I couldn't possibly do any Lance Armstrong sponsored races or anything in it. Jess, any good current Western comics? Yeah, I'll recommend one. Let me go pull it. Let me go pull it from the shelf. Actually, I can pull two from the shelves. Just a sec. Whoops, where's my, hit the mute. Just a second. Back. Okay, Western books. Two really good Western books from Sledge. First one, Doug Wildey's Rio. This is a really good Western book. It was on my wish list forever until James Dayrit kept poking me to buy it, and I finally bought it. And it's a wonderful book. This is a solid old school Western that I love a lot. So this is Doug Wildey's Rio. Let me show you some more art. Of course, anything Jonah Hex I love, but I haven't seen anything recent of his since New 52. And then speaking of the Jodorowsky universe, Bouncer from Humanoids is great. I love this book. The art's great. The story's great. Everything about this book is great. And this is a really good Western, kind of a different kind, you know, because it's a bit European. It's a European guy writing about the Wild West, but it's really cool. I dug it a lot. I can read you the back to give you a synopsis. Bouncer, the one-armed gunslinger, is the law inside the Inferno Saloon. This collection compiles his adventures and showdowns, from his family's violent legacy to his stint as Barrow City's executioner, to his misguided attempts at love, all populated by the Wild West's most perverse characters. I loved this book. I should read this book again. I liked it so much. So yeah, Bouncer and Rio are two really good Western comics. Okay, let's see. The bike I have is up in the garage, so I can't take you guys up to see it. It's nothing special. It's just something to ride around on. It's not impressive at all. It's just a fun 10-speed bike that was not expensive. It was a birthday gift from my wife, so we could, you know, pedal around and go on picnics and things like that. So it's not it's not a big deal. I should have even mentioned it. Sledge says Guy Gardner is a god amongst men. I totally get it. You're right. You are totally right. Omnibros working on getting Derek Robertson for an interview for you guys. I gave them your info. Sweet. Thank you, Jimmy Owens. Give me an interview with Cooper Kupp, too. I want to interview that guy. Logan Hamill, what's your favorite part of the Hussein Duggan Deadpool run? Easily Dracula's Gauntlet, or whatever it's called, when he marries Shikla and goes to hell and everything and whatever. I mean, he's always going to hell with this chick. I love the whole wife part of it. That's my favorite part, is Dracula's Gauntlet. Little review of Uncharted 4. We did, my daughter and I did just finish Uncharted 4. We loved it. It took us 100 hours to beat it because we died a lot. She likes to do all the jumping and climbing and sneaking around, and I do all the shooting in it. That must have been a multi-million-dollar game to develop, because it has fantastic facial movement. The characters look real, but not too real. They don't cross the uncanny valley. Great motion capture action. There's no glitches in it whatsoever. The scenery is absolutely gorgeous. The action is great. The story's great. It's very long. It's like 22 chapters long. But you get your money's worth out of that game. We were exhausted. We played it all the way to the end, got to the epilogue, played that out. Really well-written stories, and we loved the characters. So, I mean, it's like any comic book. You want characters you care about. Same with the movie, and that I would argue that it is art. Uncharted 4 was a fabulous piece of art. I think people that say video games aren't art aren't video game players. They don't know what they're talking about. This was a artistic work, Uncharted 4. It was just fabulous. We did die a lot, though. Okay, we're talking about bikes here still. Jess, do you think there's a realistic chance we will get English collection of Blueberry? Gosh, those have been out of print for a long time. Never say never, though. I think there's a chance. I think there's a solid chance. It must have something to do with his estate or something, because I would think that they'd want to keep those in print. They're so popular. Oh, Kingsway West. Yeah, Sam von Kluxenberg. Kingsway West was one of my best books of last year. That came out about a year ago in trade paperback form. That's a Greg Pak book. That is a great book because it's got magic in it too. It's a magical Old West book that deals with the aftermath of the Civil War. That is a great recommendation. Okay, thank you, Jimmy Owens. Well, we're still talking about biking in here. And well, we seem to be talking an awful lot about biking, and I don't know anything about biking. You didn't like Kingsway West. That's too bad, Chris M. I really enjoyed it. I don't really know anything about biking, so I don't really have anything to add to the chat. So this is probably a good time for me to sign off. Everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. This has been great having you involved in the chat. Okay, I can't resist this question. Jess, out of the Spidey collection you own, which of your J. Scott Campbell statues is your favorite? That would be Gwen with the umbrella right there. Let's take a closer look. Gwen is awesome with that umbrella. That may be one of my favorite statues in my collection. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. You guys have been great in the chat. Thank you. Please subscribe or hit the like button or both. You can find me on YouTube on OmniDog's Vault, and I'm also on Ryleymo's Omnibus Collectors Comic Swap and Community Facebook page. And I need to update my Instagram. I'm OmniDogs_Vault. And I am, God, I've been terrible at that. I always forget about it. Whatever. I'm human. Well, actually, I'm OmniDog, so I'm only part human. But thank you very much. You guys have been great. Peace and love. Peace and love. We will talk to you on Monday. Thank you very much, everybody. Love you guys. Peace out.